There you go.
Welcome, everybody. This is the How to Enter and Win the DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards Memorial Awards Program. Actually, I think the full title should be How and Why to Enter and Win the DeRose-Hinkhouse Memorial Awards Program. This program, I'll tell about it a little bit for any new viewers who might watch the video later, has been in existence since the 60s. And the purpose of this program is to recognize excellence in religion communication. It's for our members, for RCC members who are all throughout the year doing work in video production, audio work, podcast, writing, a lot of writing, websites, design, marketing, graphics, all communications media. We have members across the board. So we're an individual membership organization. Our members are individuals who are professionals in religion communications, and we're interfaith. So we have people from uh, all different faiths and welcome people from any faith. We are about promoting positive values and excellence in communication of faith and values and religion. So the DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards recognizes people for their excellent work throughout the year. And we have on with us today some people who have been so recognized, who have been faithful members of RCC and who have been faithful contributors to the program and entrants in the program. So I'm going to talk to them in a second. And I think we'll first start with, I'll first start with a little how, how to enter. This is how to enter. We're going to get that right out of the way. So I'm going to share my screen here. And it's going to let me share my screen if you're still on.
Yep, you should be able to.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. I have too many things open on my desktop right now. Am I sharing anything or do you just see me? So
Nothing yet.
Mm-mm.
Nothing yet.
okay.
You'll get there.
Thank you for your moral support. Okay. We'll try this sloppy screen and see if I can get this under control.
Oh, there you go.
Are you seeing the DeRose
Yes.
Memorial Awards Entrance?
But as well as your desktop.
Yeah.
So you may just want to expand out the window. There you have it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for your help. So it's very simple how to enter. We have a very simple description on the website. It tells you all about how to enter, as you can imagine. And one thing that I did when I set this up some years ago is I put the entire form on one page. So here you have your contact information, who contributed to it, what is your entry about, upload files if you need to, pay for it, and you're good to go. And the reason I set that up that way is because I don't like going to a form on the web, entering a bunch of information, pressing next, and finding out that I have to go get 10 other things. So you can look at this form, you can see what you're going to need when you enter. It's pretty straightforward. And then you just fill it out all at once and go. It's $50 to enter, which would be a bargain at twice the price, but we're not going to up that this year. And if you have any questions about what you should enter, you can go and look at all of our different classes and categories. There's a little video to show you how it works. It's basically publications. So if you publish something that contains work, it's content items. So if your work involves things that end up in a publication, So the difference being first would be a magazine, for example. That would be a publication. Magazines contain images, they contain writing, they contain graphics, design, layout, all that kind of stuff. If you're the graphics guy, maybe you just want to enter your content into the content group. And then there's the campaigns group, which is for a massive amount of varied items that all go together. And there's a whole page that tells you if you're submitting a newsletter, what to send. If you're submitting a website, what to send. It's all easy. You can look it up. If you have questions, email me. Very simple. Okay. So all that to say, that's how to enter. You type some info, you get your work from last year, you upload it, pays your $50, and you take your chances. And that's the end of that. So what I'm going to talk about now is nothing, and I'm going to let my guest artists here, we'll call it, describe to us. I can probably list off 10 or 15 reasons off the top of my head why somebody would want to enter the DeRose. But I'm going to ask Kathy Williams, who works for the Ursuline Sisters in Louisville, Kentucky, to tell us her experience with the DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards and what it means to her and her organization to have her as an entrant. So, Kathy, take it away.
Okay, well, I started entering a few years ago, and that also led me to being very involved with RCC. But I started entering a few years ago, and like Brian said, the process is pretty straightforward. Also, I have to give a shout out to Brian because, there may be something that doesn't quite fit in one of the categories. And when I've asked him, he's always been good about giving me a suggestion on where it might fit in. The thing that it has done for me is that it amplifies, I feel like, to my leadership, the work that I am doing. And the fact that it's validated by an outside entity and in a competition with other communicators, that's something that you can't really get anywhere else. And so it's really made them, I think, see it in black and white and appreciate the work I'm doing even more so. Not that they're not appreciative, but, it makes them feel like, yes, we've got the right person in this job and maybe might get you more money. I think it's helped with raises for me. Yeah. And then also, sometimes I work with freelancers on projects. So that's a nice thing for them is if you put them on the entry as part of the team, then they can get their work recognized too. And that helps them as well when they're out there trying to get work. So
those are some good points. And,
yeah.
and of all the reasons I've ever thought of, I've never thought of how that lifts up the freelancers. In order to enter the DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards, you have to be a member. So you have to have at least one person, a primary contributor as a member of RCC. But you can have as many people on your project as you need and include their names and give them some credit and help them in their career too. Anybody who's doing this kind of work, a lot of secular organizations are called into doing religion communications work. We have some magazine publishers who publish religion magazines, and it puts their attention on it and the value of it. So that's really cool, Kathy. And not to mention, get a raise by entering the DeRose-Hinkhouse Award.
Dollar signs.
That's good. So, Kathy, you've come back year after year and entered, and you're consistently recognized in the awards competition. This might be kind of a backwards question, but why do you keep coming back? What makes it valuable to come year after year?
Well, I think for all the above, and I think the organization itself has a very good reputation, and so that makes the award mean something to others outside of your immediate circle. And I do have to say too that it helps if you enter multiple categories too with your chances, because if you just enter one thing, that that may or may not get an award, but your chances increase with each entry. So it's like vote early and vote often.
Yes, that's a good tip. And I see sometimes I'll see the same exact work entered into a different category. Maybe somebody has entered the design and layout
Mm-hmm.
on a magazine article and then entered it into photos as well. The same thing, just tweaking the description to clarify what to focus on.
Yeah,
So,
be creative with how you approach it and think outside of the box with your work that you're looking at as to how where it could go. That's
yeah,
a good point, Brian.
yeah. Well, okay. Brad Pomerantz is the vice president for programming. Is that correct? And
Close, executive vice president of JLTV, Jewish
there you
Lifetime.
go. And an on-air host extraordinaire for the programming as well. And you got involved. I'm going to guess, if I can remember, probably 5 years ago,
About 4 or
six.
5 years ago. About 4 or 5
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And how did you find out about it in the first place?
I cannot lie. I don't remember. I don't remember. It must have been through some type of search.
Okay.
So Jewish Life Television is a Jewish themed television network. We're more cultural than religious, but we do, stick kind of to the Jewish faith and Jewish values. Available for everyone to watch. We have plenty of non-Jewish viewers. And I have to say that, my entry to the Religion Communicators Council came through the DeRose, and it's been a blessing and a gift all the way through. But just to focus specifically on the DeRose, one thing that really has stuck out with me and continues to be, I think, one of the strongest reasons why we continue to enter is we get the judges' ballots after the competition is concluded with the scores and the comments. And that is so invaluable to see feedback from folks that have nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the rare. I believe RCC. I can't think of another organization that gives ballots to entrants after the awards have been granted, and that is a huge plus to me and my entire team. And to key off what Kathy said, look, there's no question it's wonderful to be able to celebrate as a team our successes.
Yeah.
Just coincidentally, last year, our yearly convention where the DeRose and the Wilberts are handed out, we're in Louisville, Kentucky, where Kathy was our lead, where the Ursuline sisters are. And one of my colleagues happened to be visiting Louisville that day. And so we were able to accept the award together. And it was just such a wonderful moment to celebrate our recognition. The other thing I would say, also to key off of Kathy, is the fact that we're receiving the award from an interfaith organization is particularly moving, but it's also particularly affirming. I mean, it's one thing for a Catholic organization to give an award to the Ursuline Sisters or a Jewish organization to give an award to Jewish Life Television. It's a whole other thing for an interfaith organization to recognize our accomplishments. And what that does is it kind of creates a momentum behind for us, it's a television show or shows, and that just builds a certain sense of credibility. So as we're out seeking, it could be sponsorships, it could be charitable support, it could be traditional advertising to say, look, we've received, the top award or whatever it may be from the Religion Communicators Council is incredibly validating for an outside entity to see that this international interfaith organization that's very respected, it's just kind of mainline, mainstream, good old, faith organization, not left, not right, just, right down the center. It's not political. We're not a political organization, that it recognizes, folks from the Catholic faith, the Jewish faith, the Baha'i faith, Hare Krishnas, the Scientology, whatever it may be. It's all these different faiths are being recognized for excellence. And so in the end, it becomes very validating and it creates some really nice momentum.
I think that's awesome. And you said a couple things that I wanted to comment on. One was that the team idea. You were talking about how your team got to experience that
Right.
almost accidentally, but to me, when we come together and pass out these awards and do the program, I feel like everybody in the room is part of a team.
Oh,
I
well,
feel like I feel like a teammate with you and Kathy and Ginny, and I feel like it's sort of an all-star league where we're bringing together the communicators from all these different faiths, and we've got a job to do. We're good at it. Our members are extremely good at these different disciplines, and to bring those people into the same room and to share in that and to lift these people up, I feel like it's all the faiths coming together for a minute by sending their representatives who then go back out into the world and do it for another year. And to me,
well,
that's extremely powerful.
I mean, I gotta say, I mean, the RC, I mean, I could start crying even talking about it. I mean, the RCC is an organization that has, touched my heart in so many ways. I actually could
Yeah,
start crying, just, without getting too self-reflective or self-absorbed. This has been a tricky year for the Jewish faith and Jewish community, and the RCC has been there, and as a system of support, but we're there for all faiths, whether it be Catholics or Muslims or whatever it may be. We support each other. I mean, that's the bottom
yeah,
line. We
yes,
support each other.
yes.
Well,
And
and
another,
it's really just to add on to what you all are saying. I mean, I have learned so much from everyone in
Mhm.
the organization. And like you say, when would I have the opportunity to dialogue with a Hindu,
Right.
about communications, or Brad, who's awesome about
Mhm.
Jewish issues? So it's beyond the awards. It's an opportunity to broaden your horizons.
And
And
let's not forget that my colleague who was in Louisville last year brought his girlfriend to the event, and his girlfriend's aunt is a sister in the Ursuline organization,
that's right.
which is
Yes.
such a small
Yes. Sister Martha,
sister Martha.
who
wow,
Yes,
was at one time a member of the precursor to RCC, right?
right.
We did that thing on her, but yeah,
wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
yeah,
amazing.
we're all
it all
connected.
comes around. It all
Yeah,
just
we're all connected.
we
You
are
know,
all connected.
another thing you said, Brad, you talked about the feedback. And I recall when I was first around the DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards, and our mother church would enter, and then I would go to the convention and pick up an award or a trophy or a plaque or a certificate or something. And they'd say, well, did you get any feedback? What did they say? And I'd
Right.
have to say, here's a certificate.
Right.
Here's
Right.
and they like, well, what did they think of it? I said, I don't know. They gave it a certificate.
Yeah.
So when I took on this program, I decided, you know what? We should give our members some actual feedback. And I
100%.
built it into the judging system. So if you haven't entered before, you'll find that you get the judges' ballots that shows, you got an 8 in communication and a 9 in graphics or whatever the numbers come out to. But it also gives you commentary, like actual written paragraphs saying this was really great. You should have focused more on the person's background. Whatever the comments the judges have to say. And you don't have to take that as the gospel, but you can take it as, well, here's what somebody who's a professional in this industry who thinks about this stuff all the time thought about my work. And part of the public relations cycle is evaluation and looking
Mhm.
back at your work and seeing how you did and seeing how it connected with people. Um, we have on with us today, and Peter, I hope you can hear us, and I hope you don't mind if you're able to get on and talk, if I can put you on the spot. Are you there? Can you unmute and say hello if you're able to? Well, I'll just tell our viewing audience that Peter Woolfolk is one of the top public relations people in Nashville, not public relations, but he is one of the top professional public relations person here. He's worked in the field for decades. He's helped RCC tremendously. He's done presentations and programs for us, and he has been a judge for us in the past. And one thing I learned from Peter is just how valuable awards are. And it's no secret that we are all religion communicators, and that one method of communicating the value of our faith and the works of our faith and all the other things that we communicate, that is sometimes accomplished just by having an award. Sometimes that gives a person just that extra push and credibility. It lets an outsider see that they've been recognized. It gives it some legitimacy. So it's almost our duty as public relations people to add this into our bag of tricks, if you know.
I agree.
And not to even consider it a trick, but just to have it as part of our arsenal of the things that we use to push our messages.
Now, if I can give a quick shout out for people that are listening, that we also have the Wilbur Awards for folks in the secular media who are producing content about religion and faith. And if you're part of the secular media, non-religious media, I urge you to consider entering there as well.
Yes, please. That's a whole. We should do a whole webinar on that, Brad. Would either of you? I don't want to make this video too long because nobody will watch it. You know, nobody's going to watch an hour-long video. They don't have time in their busy lives. But would either of you like to say anything else before we kind of bring it to a close?
I just would reaffirm how critically valuable judges' feedback is. It is the most. I mean, look, I can't lie. Someone. Oh, it looks like Peter just popped on.
Hey, Peter got on. Hello.
Yeah.
You're still muted. Still muted there. He's got an amazing podcast.
The judges' feedback, that's I mean, when I get that, it's kind of like required reading immediately. Like I just kind of pour through it. And, you know, I think we tend to be our harshest critics anyway, and I'm always looking to improve. In the comments, you know, oftentimes I'll say, yeah, I could see where, you know, I could have done a little bit better job in that area, or, you know, if it's praise, that's validating as well. So yeah, that's very important.
Can you hear me, Brian?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Welcome.
Thank you. So what did you want me to talk about now?
Well, you know, we're talking about this DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards, and
right.
If anyone doesn't know, like I've already said a lot of your of accolades on you, but are you still doing the Public Relations Review podcast?
Oh heavens, yes! That's a pride and joy of mine.
Yeah, you should all look that up anywhere you get your podcast. This Public Relations Review. It's interviews.
It's all 4 words now. Public Relations Review podcast. It's all 4 words.
Yeah, look that up. It's got tons of just. It's inspirational. It's educational. It's delightful. It's insightful. Look that up. And I was fortunate to be a guest on there 3 years ago when you did something on religion communication. And Peter, you've judged our DeRose-Hinkhouse Awards pretty much every year for the last few years. What would you like to tell viewers about? What should they know about that awards program? And
well, let me just say a couple of things. I mean, I just want to toot my own horn here because I think since we talked last, my podcast, and this was a surprise to me because there's nothing, it just happened, that it has been rated by Apple as one of the top 1% of podcasts worldwide.
Wow.
So I'm happy about that. We're heard in 151 countries, and that covers, as of today, 3,050 cities around the world. Now, I have no idea how many people are listening in those cities. It could be one person on a park bench. I have no idea. But one of the things that, Brian, here's the other thing. That program, you and I forget the lady, she was a professor from George Fox University about, I just said, religion and communications. That still to this day has been the largest episode downloaded from my podcast.
Wow.
Still
Wow.
to this day, it's been the largest one.
Love it. So happy to be part of that.
So I'm glad to to be a part of this, because awards, I think, is huge. I certainly enjoy it. When I'm on both sides of this fence. When I do submit my work for the public relations work that I do, I also submit applications for awards for the podcast. And awards simply say to other people that you know what you're doing and you're good at it. Because you've got some uninterested or unknown third parties, if you will, who are judging the work that you do. I have to have my work judged, and I judge other people. For podcasts, I've been doing that not only for you guys, but also for some public relations chapters around the country. And I can see the work, the caliber work that comes in. And sometimes I try to measure my work by the work that I see coming in. But at the same time, I also see work that I ask my question: how did this get in here? If I'm not mistaken, one of the things that happened last year, someone entered it into the completely wrong category. So I couldn't judge it. I just had to put in the minimum number because that was the only way that it would be accepted. So that tells me that, and should say to everybody, you need to pay careful attention to what it is that's being asked for. And be as detailed as you can within whatever the word restrictions are, so forth and so on, to let people see that you know what you've done, how good you've done it. In my public relations podcast, I show reviews that I've gotten. I show emails that I've gotten. I look at the data that I've gotten. All these kinds of things to say, here's why this is being entered, because for the target is this, that, and the other. Here's how I got there. Here's the data to support it. Those kinds of things. So that's what I look for. And at the same time, some of the entries that we did over the last couple of years, some of those were spectacular. I couldn't believe how good some of them were. So they ran from, I say 100% very good to some of them that maybe got the lowest of possible scores because they entered into the wrong categories. So my suggestion is make sure that people take the time to look for what it is that's going to be required of the entry, and do the best they can within the limits to submit everything you can to validate what it is that you claim that you're doing. So, I look forward to doing it again. There's no problem with that at all. I enjoy it because I too learned from it. I've seen some very, very good work, and taking some notes.
Well, that is an honor. So thank you. And we're coming right up on the 30-minute mark. So this is very good timing. Thank you, Peter, for jumping on with us. It was a nice welcome surprise. Thank you, Brad, for everything you're doing with this and for leading our Wilbur Awards. Kathy, for your work with RCC in general and your work for the Ursuline Sisters. Thank you for making the world a better place.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will close off. Hello to Julie, who jumped on late, and Jenny, thanks for hosting this. And that's it. So we'll see you at the awards program.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.